Okay. So I'll start with my journey then. For me, getting into product management itself was quite difficult. Post my MBA, I went into marketing. So getting into product is the most difficult thing because the I think the benchmark people have set is so high. But once you have gotten in, the floodgates are open. You get like opportunities in and out. The difficulty is just in getting in. So then the avenues like for fresh graduate would be like a product analyst or APM role. So I think usually companies like Flipkart and other companies come for product analysts, and that'd be the easiest way for someone to get into product. So for me, as I told, after MBA, I didn't went into marketing, and I did tell my company about my intention to move to product. So I had a good network. So I did speak to product people in the company. I started working on some things ad hoc, but still it wasn't coming. I did deliver. So at this point, I started looking out. I interviewed with so many companies. I mean, you can name them. I would have interviewed with them. But since I didn't have the product management experience, it was not easy for me to get that first opportunity. But once I got the first opportunity, I got an offer from this company in Delhi, delivery. So I mean, the fact that you're from IIT kind of opens up doors uh, because PM, what people are looking at is a good intellect and sharp mind. And in an interview for an APM or PM role, if you're able to showcase that, because the questions in the interview are related to problem solving and more towards testing your problems. Yeah, problem solving and communication. So since I was able to clear that after so many, I went back to the company and I told that I'm leaving. And the next day they switched me to product. So that was my journey in how I moved to product management.
Diving
Yeah,
within the company only.
yeah. So that is the easiest switch. Let's say you are working in different division. The easiest way to move to product management is internal. So I would say you need a network inside the company, speak to different people. I'm sure that across whatever division you're in, you have access to product managers. You just speak to them, you develop a rapport with them. Luckily for me, the rapport I developed was because of sports and other activities I did out of this one. So I had a very informal connect with a lot of people in the company. So I was able to pull strengths uh, because of that. So that kind of worked in my favor.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
what do you do like currently?
So 2017, I completed my MBA. I joined in Freshworks in sales enablement. Then I moved to product marketing. Then I moved to product management. After that, I moved to this company in Bombay. It was started by ex-housing folks. The CEO of housing, Rahul Yadav, was my manager there. So I worked with them for like 7 to 8 months. Then I moved to IIT Kharagpur startup. I wouldn't call it a startup anymore because they have been here for like 7 to 8 years. So I'm with Innovacer as a senior product manager. Yeah, so that's where I am now.
Great, great. So, like you said, like your journey started with marketing,
Yep.
and like you moved to product within the org. So, like, how did you? I mean, how did you like prepare to make the switch? Like, other than like your on-the-job learning, like, did you do anything else on the side to like prepare for this?
So I would say there's a lot of overlap with product marketing. There's a lot of overlap with every function in product. If you take a QA, if you take a so because product management, it's not one thing. You need to work with different people. You need to understand different perspectives. So for me, being in marketing, being in sales enablement kind of gave me the understanding of what the customer needs are, right? So there are some skill sets I developed over there. Uh, and I don't think product management is rocket science. Uh, it's logic. So what I had to prepare was to showcase that I am good enough as a product manager. So what it means is that, and as in whenever someone is taking an interview for a product manager role, they're just trying to find at least if a person is meeting like 5 to 6 of out of my 10 requirements, if that person fits the bill. Uh, so that needs a lot of interview prep, right? So even though I think interview prep and someone who can do good in an interview may not actually be a good product manager, right? Because the things you need to do good in an interview are totally different from the things you actually need to be good at a product level. But at the end of the day, that is how the world is. You have a certain amount of time with the interview or the committee which is taking interviewing you. You need to show that okay, I am someone who can do that, deliver the value. So for the first product management role, that is, if you haven't gotten into it, you need to be well prepared. So it's always going to be on problem solving. It's about what you understand about product and what is your motivation towards joining the product line. Why do you want to switch? So you need to have clarity on that, because you need to showcase that clarity of thought, like why you want to join product management, what do you understand out of it, and yeah, yeah, that clarity is what will actually help you convert interviews.
Right. So you mentioned like converting interviews is one thing, and like the skills that you need for the work you do is a different thing. So can you maybe like go into like the kind of work you do, like maybe like take us through like walk us through like the work you do and like what skills you apply there.
Okay, so product management is different types. One is B2C. B2C, you're building products for the end consumer. Then you have a B2B product manager where you're building products for businesses. Then you have one more, which is a platform product manager where you're building the technical capability uh, so that the external facing product can achieve something, right? So all three of it at the core is that what does the customer want? What are the pain point we are solving? So it's key to understand what are the problem we are trying to solve, right? So you need to always have a first principle thinking. Understand what problem you're trying to solve, who you are solving it for, and then factor the business perspective, tech perspective, and design perspective, and see the feasibility across each of it. So you may not be able to do everything immediately. So you need to scope it out. When I say that, okay, uh, your customer needs two things, but you have research to do only one. So you understand what is more important, and you work towards that. So you need, as a product manager, you just define what, how, why, and when of the product. You define what problem you're solving, and you define how by meaning that what kind of solution you're taking for that, and why are you solving that, and when. I'm going to solve it immediately, I'm going to solve it later, maybe in a 6 months time. So that is the crux of product management. For doing that, you need to work with different teams, but the most important is your engineering team, because we have something called sprint. It means 2 week time where some key value is getting built. So you need to okay, so let's say that. So you have something like a roadmap. Roadmap is what is going to build in the next 1 year. And you again break it down into quarters. Then you again break it down to sprints. So you define what is going to be built. You work with the design team for anything for designs. You write the product requirement documents. What it means is that you define what is getting built, why is it getting built, and what are the business value, so that anyone who reads the document understands why this feature is built. And even when the engineers, when they're building it, they understand the logic and they will build according to that product requirement document. So defining these product requirement documents and giving these to the engineers so that they understand is the key of, it's like almost like 50% of your job.
Right.
But for that, you need to refine it. So any feature starts with ideation. Post ideation, you work with the designers to find the UI or UX. Then you take it to a tech team and understand the tech feasibility. Let's say tech is saying that, okay, some things are not too feasible now. So then you strip down out of 10 things. Okay, I will only build 8 things. You again work with the design to say, okay, can we change the design to factor the tech feasibility? Once that stripped down mock is there, then you again take it to your engineers, then you start building it. So that is the essence of product management. That involves working with engineers, be it you ideally have to work with an engineering manager, because a lot of people think that you need to know tech fully. I don't think you need to know tech to be a product manager. You need to know the customer. You need to know what problem you're solving. What is good to have is if you can speak to an engineer in the language they, if you can have a meaningful conversation, if you understand when an engineering manager is saying that, if a tech person is saying that what you're saying is not technically feasible or it's going to take more time, you need to understand that. So you don't need to know coding to be a PM. So that is one thing I came across a lot of time when I was interviewing for a product. Like people, I think wrongly assume that uh, tech knowledge is needed. That is because I think a lot of product managers have come from engineering background. So they have this bias that only someone who has an engineering background can will be able to do the job. But it's not the case. It's again the at the core of it is customer empathy, and if you're able, and you should be sharp enough to understand the problem immediately. And one thing is discernment. Discernment is considering all the factors and taking a decision. So that is all is needed to be a product manager.
Right, right. So, like in your case, I mean, in your current role, like it's a B2C, B2B company, right? So, like,
Yep.
who's your customer, and like maybe you can take us through like a use case of you like building a product or going through this whole process.
Okay. So Innovacer is a US healthcare company. So we are building solutions for the healthcare. So the healthcare could be physicians, it could be the insurance companies, or they have networks over there. So we're building solution that can make the healthcare more efficient, which means reduction in cost and more efficient care. I essentially am a platform product manager. What it means is that I build the capabilities that will help our company use a. So okay, let's say we have built a platform. We can build products either internally or we can use third-party applications. We can extend our product with integrations. So what I am essentially working on is how we can make a platform as a company. We can make the platform expandable and scalable, so that anyone, not just internal, even external, can use our capability to build applications on top of what we have. So that is what I'm working on. Uh, to put it in layman words, what I work on is like user management, what someone should get access to. Then how, so there's something called a marketplace. I don't know if how many of you understand that marketplace is where, uh, okay, you haven't, so your Insta stories go to Facebook story because Instagram and Facebook are speaking to each other, right? So I'm working on that side of it. I'm working on a platform product manager. As a application product manager, when I mean application product manager B2B, in a previous company, let's say I was building for Indian real estate companies. So the crux of it was that we need to make real estate people sell flats better. So I needed to understand the entire business of how they are working. So I used to go and meet all the real estate builders, be it Anand Premal from Premal or be it Tata. I used to go meet them. I used to be with the sales leaders to understand how they work. Uh, that is something interesting because I don't think anyone else would get an opportunity to go and meet people who are so high in the organization, the business world. But tech is new. So mostly you get a seat in the board because you understand tech and you help them solve issues, because these people are not that tech savvy, and but they do understand that getting tech will help them be more efficient. So product managers, we go and consult them on how we can solve their problems better. So for real estate, I go and tell them, okay, you get 100 leads. This is the way you sell. This is the sales process, how you speak to the customers. Now I go and consult them on, okay, using our tech, this is what you do. And I will extend even beyond tech, saying that you need to change your sales process because this is the best practice. So what you need to do is you need to have these many touch points. So whenever you have a new client who wants to buy a flat, so you need to send them email at this time. You need to speak to them. You need to get them to the site, and that is going to help make the sell. So understanding business is a key to be a B2B product manager, and that is actually the best part about it, because you get a visibility into how sales work, how marketing works, how support works. So even at Freshworks, when I was building a integrated customer engagement suite, I had to speak to different stakeholders to understand how a support leader is working, how a sales leader is working, and what is the value add we are giving using the product. So this gives a exposure to business. This kind of, so think of it like you're like a consultant and who is helping them using tech.
So I think there would have been a difference between the way you had to think about the product, like between Freshworks and like ANAROCK, because the like was there a difference, and like basically what was the difference? I mean, I think in ANAROCK, where the customers more of enterprise customers, and in Freshworks you have the SMB. Like, is there a difference there?
Okay, so at Freshworks, we were serving close to 250,000 customers across the globe.
Right.
At ANAROCK, we had like 3 to 4 customers.
Right.
At Freshworks, the global customers. So we were what was what is going to be built is mainly designed by me. You're not listening to the customers
Right.
because of the stage you're in, right? Like if you're a well-established company, you can decide what to build.
Right.
At
But what do you take into consideration when
it
you
depends on the stage you're in, right? Like, can you? I mean, at Anurag, we needed to retain these customers, so we are at 0 to 1 stage.
right?
So we had to listen to all customer issues. I mean, I did pushback on certain things which I feel is not needed, but I had to give a justification on each of it, and they were not unreasonable. And if they have a valid business use case, if they have a valid problem, I take it and I build it for them. But at Freshworks, lot of it was about coming from me. Like I speak to a lot of customers, understand the customers, and then I use my own discernment and judgment, and I build the product based on that. At Anarok, maybe what was different was that the majority was built based on the customer feedback and my input. Even though I try to uh, do as much as possible, but the point is that at the end of the day, we need to retain these first few customers. But at the end of the day, the product management work was almost the same. You work with engineers, you work with designers. That is not going to change anywhere. Even you go to B2B, B2C, you have your design team, you have your engineering team, you have a QA. That is going to be constant. Uh, the way teams are structured could be different, but that is not something that's too much of a concern.
Right. So you're saying, like, basically where the requirement comes from, and like who the ideation part varies, like depending on the stage of the company and how many.
So at Anurag, I was owning everything. So at Freshworks, I was one out of 60 product managers. But Anurag, I was on like a VP or more than that, because I became the face of the product. That was a good exposure because I could set up a lot of process on how the product management works. I could scale even support teams, how a support function is going to work, how the entire software development process is going to be, how the product management processes are going to be. So I was able to set up that because it was a very new company. So that learning curve was much higher because I was able to get into a lot of things. At Freshworks, it was a good learning curve for me, but I was not at a senior level. I was just starting up, and I wouldn't say I couldn't, but yeah, I was not given that responsibility to do that. But the responsibility that was given to me at ANAROCK was much higher, and because of which my learning curve kind of became really steep.
Right. So you mentioned there were like a lot of product managers at Freshworks. So like how does it work? How do product managers divide the work, or like does one person own a particular product, or is it like divided among people? How does it happen when
It
it's a
depends. It depends. So we had like 10 to 12 products. Each product had a director of product management. Uh, so I had a director of product management who reported to the CEO. So it depends on your manager. But ideally, what happens is, let's say you have a product, each feature is given to one. So let's say a product has 10 features. It could mean you have 10 different product managers, or it could mean that you have five product managers who is owning two each. This ideally the structure is going to be like a director of product, a CPO, chief product officer. Below that will be director of product managers, product. Then will be a lead product manager, senior product manager, APM, product analyst. So as you go up, you own a bigger piece and you divide it among people under you. So let's say there's a senior product manager. Here he owns four items. Uh, he can't always have the bandwidth to work on each and everything to the finest details. So he will give whatever he has in his plates to individual product managers under him and ask them to start the work. And when they complete it, he checks on it and he discusses with them post that completion of work. So he kind of delegates that hard work to individual product managers so that he can utilize his time for bigger things. So that is how it always works. So that is why people recruit PMs, APMs, product analysts because they can offload their items from their plate.
So, like you mentioned, like for maybe engineering graduates, the best way to ultimately get into a PM role would be like start as a product analyst or
Mhm.
PM. So, what is the work that they are generally given?
Then it depends. It depends on what company you're in.
Were there like APMs and product analysts at Freshworks?
We had APMs at Freshworks, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And we did recruit product analysts at ANAROCK. So I went to BITS Pilani. We recruited like 7 to 8 analysts.
Right.
So look, as a product manager, it's something that you learn with experience. So uh, you start off with taking a very small piece of it, and I would say you need to get to some milestones. Like the bigger the piece you own, it means that the bigger the growth you're having is higher. So it may start with working on product analytics. What it means that understanding how your DAU or daily active users, what is that numbers are. They may ask you to work with support teams, or they may ask you to work with sales team to understand what are the problems. So essentially, yeah. So they may. So it's not well structured though. Uh, it depends on individual managers, but ideally, what they do is they try to uh, offload certain things. That offloading part could be owning a very small feature that is not critical. Ask them to take it up, take ownership, uh, do the design, do the PRD, and ship it, right? Or it could be that they have other things as a product manager you need to do. That is speak to sales, speak to customers, uh, understand. It could be writing product copies. It could be writing release notes. All the things that ideally someone doesn't enjoy to start with.
Right.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say. So I don't think there's a fixed role as a what a product analyst or APM would do. But ideally, what a new APM or analyst should do is show interest, show ownership. Then you will start getting more work from them, because then they will think that, okay, now this person is able to take more. I can offload certain things. I don't need to handhold him.
Right.
So people, if we hire a product analyst and I have to handhold them, there's no point in recruiting them.
Right.
Right. So essentially, that is what we want. We want someone to independently own something and drive it. If someone can do that, they'll start getting more responsibilities, and that means that they're getting higher growth.
Right. So you mentioned you hired product analysts from Bits, and maybe you would have been aware of like the hiring process of APMs at Freshworks also. So like, what is the, like, you can probably take from your own example, like what is the process that you did to evaluate product analysts? Like, what is the hiring process like?
So even at Innovacer, I was interviewing people across product managers, APMs, and senior product managers. So there are different ways people look at it. Uh, so ideally, there'll be like 3 to 4 calls. There will be an introductory call, and after which it's where they test if this person has good communication skills. Is he a good problem solver? uh, does he has the qualities to be a good product manager? At a very top level, the first interview goes, and then the second and third is going to be more in-depth interviews where you get into case studies, problem solving, and everything. So the qualities that I look for, again, good intellect. Uh, I want someone who is sharp, who can understand things quickly, who has a good discernment. I think that covers. If he's sharp, he can understand the customer, he understand the problem, and
Right.
I feel that a product manager should have a calm mind and should have a well thought out thought process. Nothing should be half baked. So that is something I'm looking at. If someone has a very yeah, if is someone jumping into the solution, or is someone taking the time to understand the problem and then trying to figure out what are the factors, once they have covered all the factors, and then are they getting into the solution, right? So that is what uh, I look for. Of course, communication, all these are key, all these are like helpful.
What would be some sample, like some example of a question or a case study that you would evaluate?
It could be a guesstimate issue, like I ask is how many buses are there in London,
Right.
and they need to do a case study on this or problem solving on this.
Right. This is for a
Then
product analyst.
it could be for anyone, right? It's a logical question. We just want to try how someone attacks an issue.
Right.
For senior product managers or product people with experience, what I am essentially looking at is what they have done in their previous roles.
Right. Again, like we hear of questions like, what's your favorite product, and like, how do you improve it? Are these questions that are generally asked for a PM interview?
Look, how it works is that not everyone. So the interviews are taken by existing product managers in the company.
Right.
No one is giving too much of importance into, like, no one is going thought process. Okay, I'm going to prepare for the interviews and go.
Right.
Like, I've gone to interviews just 5 minutes before they told me, okay, go and take an interview. I had no clue of what to ask. I
Right.
just go and see, okay, what all questions I can ask, and uh, I just want to get away. Like, I just want to evaluate the person soon.
Right.
So the easiest way for me to ask is, okay, tell me a product and what you like about it, so that I don't have to think much about what question I have to ask. This person itself comes with the thing, and I can judge his product design skills, how his thought process, everything by this one question. So it saves a lot of time for me when they ask this question. Okay, tell me which product you like, and tell. So it's mainly to judge the product design knowledge, how someone is product design and problem solving. And this question kind of helps in helps in analyzing this person without me having to think much on what question to ask next.
Right. So again, like how can people probably prepare for these things that are being evaluated? So one is like engineering students who probably have a year where they can do something and be better prepared for this. And
Mhm.
another is like because you have done an MBA also, like how can people in B schools like prepare to be better like positioned while for these interviews?
They're going to be like standard questions. There are two books. One is Decode and Conquer.
Right.
Another is How to Crack a PM Interview. Even though personally I didn't see much of value, but yeah, it gives an idea of what kind of questions get asked, and it can be a good prep. Uh,
I mean,
yeah,
other than like maybe specific questions, like how is there a way to inculcate that thought process and uh, like build those thinking skills?
okay. I would say watch a lot of YouTube videos on what people say about product management, like their product podcasts and everything. So understand why do you want to get into product management? It's something that you need to understand. So get visibility there. Love that internet gives you a way for you to access people's experience from past. So understand if this is for you. It may look all good from outside, but it may not be for everyone. I love the job. I don't think I would want to be anyone else. But I also feel that someone who is extrovert, I mean, even I'm an extrovert, but I've seen that someone may not enjoy this. I've told them, even though they are trying to get into product, I told them this may not be something that you'll enjoy. There could be something else. For them, there's a pre-sales or someone like a marketing, which I feel is something that uh, caters to their strengths. So for me, I enjoy working with different people and getting something out. That output is something that gives me satisfaction, and I don't mind being at the back of the product. I don't need immediate gratification. For me, the gratification comes from the point that something I built is getting used, right? So understand why you want to be product manager. Understand if this is for you. Then I wouldn't say fake it. You don't have to fake what you have to think. Understand these. Mm, See the product interviews, how uh, questions are getting asked. Uh, then be curious about products. Why are they getting built? What are the value add? Right? It's so even all the interviews I've taken or given, they were not anything out of the world that was asked. It's always going to be plain simple questions. Read about them, read about past interview experiences, what they have done, and read about how people think about certain features, why certain features were built, what are the things that they factored in. So Google, I would say Google and find product management resources, product management lessons and guidelines. I would say don't focus too much on interviews, even though it's needed. But look, um, so I was lucky for the fact that I didn't even know what product management was before I got into Freshworks. But all my interviews, I've always been honest about what I want to do. So even at MBA, I want to get into sports management, and that's what I always told in my interviews that I want to go and get into sports management. Because of which I couldn't convert few companies. Uh, but at the end of the day, looking back, that's the best thing that happened to me. That not having converted those company has put me in a job that I really enjoy. Uh, so you don't need 10 jobs; you just need one job. So you don't have to fake it, and it's not rocket science. All you do is Google, keep following certain blogs. I'm sure there are a lot of product management. There's a Slack group called Product something where there are 25,000 people. So I think a lot of people post there to have interview prep. So what it means that you can prepare with them. So people going for Amazon or Microsoft interviews, they post saying that is anyone available to take a prep, or you can even post your CVs over there for reviews from people. So you can join these communities, product communities. I forgot what the Slack group is called, but I'm sure you can Google it and find them. So you
Right.
have all the tools available on internet, and you should be able to get it.
Right. And another question like a lot of people have is like, is an MBA? I mean, uh,
It's
like,
not needed. It's
what-
MBA. It's not even needed. Look,
I mean, one is like, is an MBA needed for the work you do? Another is like, is an MBA needed as a qualifying criteria? Like, if a lot of companies have this as a qualifying criteria, I mean, then it's like a hurdle that non-MBA people cannot cross, right?
no, I mean it depends, right? Like having an MBA means that this person now has a higher chance of having the qualities that'll make him successful at the job. So companies want to reduce the chances of the candidate not delivering. So they're just cutting down the chances. Uh, as long as you have good experience, I would say 2 to 3 years of product management experience immediately after engineering. I've seen, I think I've seen IT equipped folks who have been in product after the graduation, and they are in VP roles in good companies, be it Star. So I haven't seen any benchmark saying that okay, we want only people from with MBA. If they have 3 to 4 years of experience, you hardly look at candidates if they have an MBA or not. But the point is the first job. For the first job, uh, even I would kind of even I've started actually preferring MBAs over tech folks fresh out of graduate because of the maturity level they have. If I mean, uh, I wish I can say that all the graduates can be mature enough, but I felt that it's not something from okay at this point of time. I feel that it's easy, but when I see these fresh out of college, even we have 2 to 3 IIT Kharagpur folks as APMs here. I feel they are not, they're hyper energy. They need to be really mature and responsible. So that is why I kind of start inclining towards MBAs because I feel they could be more mellow and they could be more mature while handling because you need to work with different sets of people. You need to work with different people. So the way you speak, the way you communicate, the way you think about it has to have some kind of maturity. So that is why I think MBA kind of uh, goes towards it kind of people start looking at. But is an MBA needed? I would say no, because what I learned in my job is much more than what I learned in 9 years being at Kharagpur. I am. What an MBA you do is people. It's a good learning experience in a way because everything is good given to you in a capsule. Uh, so it's like okay, I'm going to give you exposure to finance, marketing, economics, legal aspects of business. So you don't go in depth in anything. It's just given perspectives of it, and all these perspectives, I think you can learn it in a week's time if you actually need it.
Right.
But the things, yeah, you do a lot of case studies and all that. But thinking back, looking back, yeah. If I could have done the job without an MBA, I would say absolutely yes. Yeah, I didn't need to have an MBA to do my job.
There are two paths, right? So one is maybe somebody gets out of engineering college, goes into a product analyst role for a couple of years,
Mhm.
and then another guy is like someone who immediately does an MBA. So like, is there a major difference to like both of these people who aspire to be a product manager, like in terms of the odds of them getting?
What are the two people coming in?
So one is like someone who gets into a product analyst role
Mm-hmm.
or a business analyst role, like right out of graduation, and eventually tries to move into product management,
Mhm.
like with the work experience, and another is like who tries to do like who's doing an MBA immediately and then maybe apply to companies for product manager roles.
So for MBM, it's because of the placement, right?
Right,
That's
right,
going to help them. So let's say IMA or ISB, they are people going with zero expectation to have with previous experience.
right.
So that MBA people have the platform, but let's say both of them are applying uh, off campus. I think I would prefer someone who has the experience, who has done product analyst.
Got it, got it. So you were in product marketing. So like, can you maybe like uh, tell us the difference between like product marketing and product management?
Product marketing are just as telling the world about what your product does.
Right. So is it like, I mean, then there's marketing. So I mean, what are these distinctions between these different terms?
Uh, between which all terms?
Like, so there's then you have marketing people, right? So like, does it come under
So
marketing?
I understand what you're saying. Like marketing encompasses like even you tell about your company. So I used to do brand marketing also.
Right,
So over there you tell about your company even. So
right,
so all the branding everything comes in. Product marketing is it has two things. One is product adoption.
right.
Product adoption means that uh, if your customers basically able to communicate to your customers what the value add is, and basically able to communicate to the world what it. So yeah. So speaking about the product would be product marketing, uh, and the difference between marketing and product marketing, they're
There's
very less.
marketing
A lot
which
of overlaps.
leads to sales, right? Like,
What?
there is marketing which is like lead generation and ultimately helping the company. Uh,
So there are a lot of things in marketing. So in our marketing team, we had sales enablement, we had product marketing,
right,
we had demand gen, and we had brand awareness.
right, right,
So the demand gen team took care of getting leads. The brand awareness team took care of getting the corporate events to build the brand. And the product marketing teams didn't have, at least in Freshworks, it didn't have any lead gen goals. The goals were mainly towards product adoption and product evangelism.
so the KPIs would be along the lines of product, like engagement.
Adoption engagement would be the main, but it depends on how teams are structured. Sometimes, as a product marketing manager, you also own lead gen also.
Right, right. So we have a question. So again, like, this is something a lot of people ask. Like, is
Mhm.
there a course for product management? Or so again, up like companies like Upgrad has product
No,
management
no, no.
courses. So
Don't do any of these online courses. If you want to do a course, I think Carnegie Mellon has a 1 year course in MS in product management. I
can
think that is a good course. If you want to do that, don't do an MBA. Go and do that because I've seen a lot of even after an MBA from IIM, I've seen people going and doing that 1 year course. And a lot of they're good product management opportunities in US than in India, and I think that would be something that you can consider.
what is the name of the course you
CMU, CMU, Carnegie Mellon.
done?
CMU has a product management MS.
Okay. But other than that, like all the like, do you have any idea about like the online courses that?
Yeah, I was sent. So we were building courses that could be given to a product folks. I think a couple of them were. One second. I think. Give me a minute. LND.
So what would typically be in this course? Like, what broadly, like what are the things that would?
I never taken them.
Right, right,
So yeah, I I think it just tells about product design, how to go about it. It tells about how a Scrum team works, how to divide it, how to write PIDs. It may tell you about product analytics, what are the key metrics that you need to measure.
right.
Uh, it may start
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, hey, Madhi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I lost you there in between.
Yeah. You're talking about. Uh,
Yeah, I just posted the link on chat. Would everyone be able to access it?
yes. Yes. See.
There is one more key thing. Let me just. So I'm mentoring these people on something was my school, my peers or something. They had a good collection of resources. Let me share that. Help your peers. Yeah, help your peers.
So these could be useful, is what you're saying. These kind of courses.
Uh, yeah, at least look. It helps to get acquainted and get confident in interviews, right?
Right.
Because without preparation, you may not be able to crack it. But after some time, we get acquainted. You get comfortable in giving these interviews. That will help you.
I mean, after the like again, it's all about that first role, right? First product management job. So
Yep.
maybe these courses can help you a little bit in that direction.
Yes. Maybe. Yeah. So I've shared this second help your peers doc. That is a good collection of resources.
Got
So
it.
we can have a look in that.
Great.
Cool.
All right. Great. I think we have covered a lot of things. Anything else you have in mind?
Okay, so it's going to be really difficult to find a product role now because the world is going through economic slump. Uh, there are still companies which are reaching out because companies are reaching out to me, but it's going to get harder. So that means that you need to really up your game. So yeah, so do a preparation, speak to network with as many people as possible, and yeah, the times are hard. You may not easily get into the product role, but keep working towards it. Even if not now, I'm sure in a couple of years' time you may get in. And like for me, I'm really glad that I started in product marketing and sales enablement and ended up in product management because those skills really helped me. So similarly, you don't have to immediately get into product management. Your current role gives you an exposure to something that you may not get in product management. So appreciate that, grind it out, and when you get it, I mean, I wish you all the best. But yeah,